We are back, baby. I don't know if you, just like kind of I did, thought there's no way Brian brings this podcast back. It's over. He's done. Well, here we are. And we're going to do something new. It's just going to be me behind the mic. I don't need to explain all that, but I'm kind of going to explain that today, actually. Just kind of the direction that I'm going and why it's just me. But I got a haircut. That's new if you're watching this on YouTube. Um, Something I also want to start with is I watched the last episode, end of season one, where I need clarity. This morning again, I haven't looked at that in months. It's been 4 months. I said it was going to be 1 to 2 months. Sorry about that. It's been a little bit longer. If you actually, wanted to watch these and were following along before, but man, what a broken man that looks like a few months ago. And I'm going to talk about that today. 5 lessons from the hardest year of my life. Honestly, I feel like I've said this has been the hardest year of my life for the past 5 years. um, and all of that kind of culminated in 2025. And so I don't know, man. I just want to talk about it. I feel like there's a lot of lessons that I've learned. It was really freaking hard to narrow it down to just five. But my hope is that in the shittiness of my year and the hard stuff that I've gone through and my experiences, I think I've learned a lot of things within that. And there's a lot of wisdom that I've gained that I can hopefully pass that along to somebody else. And so that's kind of the new direction here. And with that, honestly, let's just jump right in. I'm hoping these are going to be shorter too. Let's take a guess as to how long this is going to be. We're already 2 minutes in. I want this to be, let's say, 26 minutes. By now, you guys know, and I just don't know. Anyways, number one, unmet expectations kill gratitude, create bitterness, and produce anxiety. Also, if it sounds like I'm reading, I am. Just the lessons learned. I have notes here that you can't see on my laptop. Unmet expectations kill gratitude, create bitterness, and produce anxiety. I went into 2025 about a year ago thinking this is the year. I literally was looking at my journal the other day and I said, this is the Hail Mary attempt. I hope like God catches it or something like that. And I was really, really looking to get the things that I wanted out of 2025. I felt like I had been waiting for years for certain things like the business success, the money, oh, I really want to move out of my parents' house. That's going to happen this year. I'm going to meet the girl this year. All these expectations that I had of, you know what, man, like it's got to be time for those things to happen. And here I am having none of it. It's almost like I feel like I'm starting over in some ways. Um, but the point I'm trying to make is that it kills gratitude because I went into the year thinking, all right, these three or four things, if I don't get those, then it's kind of a failure. And within that, I missed up until literally this past week all the amazing things that actually happened in 2025. And honestly, if that's you, if you're sitting here like, yeah, my 2025 fucking sucked too, man, like join the club. I did this last week. I wrote down in my journal 2 pages worth. You don't have to do that, but of all the things I was grateful for about 2025 because I knew I wasn't grateful for the whole damn year because I didn't get the four things that I wanted. And when we have expectations, when we set the timetable, that's when I know for myself, I miss out on the things that it's like you have blinders on. And it's like if I don't get those four things, then everything else around that's great that's going on doesn't matter. And I struggle with gratitude off the bat. So I would say if that's you, write down some stuff and actually sit with them. Sit with this thing. And man, that's actually an awesome thing. And then the next thing, and just write them down. Like don't, because that's what I started to do is just write them down just to get to the next thing. And this is a chore, and I just need to do it and grit my teeth. And you're missing the point of the exercise if you do that. So I did that. I kind of just rushed through it and wrote all these things down. And then I actually went back and read them one by one and sat with that for a couple minutes. and just was like, yeah, man, that's something I didn't have a year ago. That, man, I'm so grateful for now, and that shaped and molded me. And so that's something, kills gratitude. It creates bitterness. Honestly, this was huge. I mean, I could see in myself, I'm not getting the things that I want. Therefore, like, what the hell? What the hell, God? What the hell, other people around me? Just getting frustrated at every little thing, being angry. It just created a lot of bitterness in me. And again, that's something that I still struggle with. Sitting here right now, not having any of those things that I want that are on that list still. That's why, like, I personally have to be really intentional about this stuff. But it creates bitterness, towards God, towards the people around me, and it produces anxiety. Like, so many days in 2025, I woke up and just felt behind immediately, like you're late for something. And it's so stressful to live that way. And I think it's just like it's the classic, you got to be married by this time. Okay, you got to be married by the time you're 30 and you're 29 and you're still single, and like it's that creates anxiety because, oh, I only have a year. I have a year to find the person and get married and this and that, and it's like, get rid of the timetable. There is no timetable. And so I know in myself all those expectations, and honestly take this as a lesson learned for you going into this year. I think that's something that we put so much pressure on. Man, 2026 is the year. 2026 is the year. All this stuff's going to happen. And then what happens? We freak out by the end of the year when none of it goes the way that we wanted to. And I'm not saying that you can't have you can't be optimistic, you can't have hope. But I think we put so much pressure on this is the year. And so for me, I'm heading into 2026 with a lot less expectations and just literally taking it day by day, which I will talk about later, I think. But man, when you look back, when you actually are grateful, I see 2025 now as such a gardening year. It's crazy. I am hoping and optimistic for the harvest in 2026. And I don't think that's a bad thing. But looking at 2025, I was like, man, it was just like getting kicked in the nuts every single day and still trying to show up. And I'm proud of myself for continuing to show up. But it it's flipping it from, man, disappointment to, okay, growth. And it was gardening. I could talk about that for a lot longer, but let's move on to number 2. Suppression of expression leads to depression. 2025, I look at it objectively and the things that I did, the social media in the beginning, the podcast, all the things I put out there, I see it as slowly shedding the mask to get to where I'm at right now, to talk about the things that I really, really, really care about. And I mean, shit, I even remember like literally a year ago, right around now, taking my first like Instagram story and putting it out there. It took me like 2 hours to take one little 30-second video because I'm freaking out and I'm afraid of how am I going to be perceived and what are these people going to think when I put my real ideas out there. And right now, as I sit here today on January 12th, 2026, like that is so far removed from who I am now. But how do you get there? Well, it's all the reps. It's the putting yourself out there. It's the saying the kind of cliche things at first to get to little by little the things that I know I really care about, which is like talking about God, talking about faith, talking about all those things. And my message here is that no matter what your thing is, like my thing is faith and God. Honestly, if it were anything else, if it were different, I'd be talking about it too. And I think I am doing that in some ways, but the level of conviction and passion I have for Jesus, for God, like it doesn't compare to anything else. And so I'm going to talk about that. And honestly, when I did that last week, a week ago, I was just like, fuck it. Let's just start putting stuff out on social media again. because I can't wait for answers. I was just sitting around like, God, can you write on the wall what the next steps are for me and for your will for my life? Like, what am I supposed to do? Make it clear and obvious. And I didn't get anything. And so I was like, okay, just like make a video and put it out there, you know? And it was real, honest, it was vulnerable, it was kind of talking about my own struggles and God. And I did that and immediately felt like an exhale. I felt it was just nice to take action, and it was nice to, I mean, the point here, suppression of expression leads to depression. It was nice to express myself in my truest form, talking about not only a personal thing to me, like a struggle, but talking about this thing that I really enjoy, this thing that really fires me up, even though it was in a dark moment. And the next day, call it God's grace, call it taking action. I woke up just different. I don't know. I woke up early. Honestly, like for the past freaking, I don't know, 6 months, I have struggled to get out of bed is an understatement. It has been a fight for like 6 months to just get my ass out of bed, even if it's like 10 a.m. Like it doesn't have to be in the 5 o'clock hour. You guys that follow me know I did the no snooze challenge. Like that was fucking hard. I woke up the next day after I posted something, and I didn't snooze at all. I got right out of bed. It was 5:45. I set my alarm for it. I got up. I was just lighter that day. And since then, I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, something's been different. And my point to get to it is it's almost like my soul exhaled once I started to do the thing that I really just enjoy and the thing that truly I feel like expresses myself and who I am. And it's almost like all of last year, I hit a little bit of that. Yeah, I talked about God and I talked about things that I believe were important and relatable and all that stuff. But now it's like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm going to talk about the things that are deep in my heart that I'm just like, oh, I just need to get them out. And I think a lot of people, I think every one of us has that in us, and we're hiding it. We feel shame about it. And my point is that, one, other people's perception of you doesn't mean anything. And take that from someone who literally, like I was saying a year ago, was like all freaking out about everybody's perception of me. Little by little, by taking action, I'm at the point now where I just like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. You know what matters more? Expressing myself and having that exhale. And like, it's selfishly more about me. Like this podcast right now, it's not about, man, how many views do I get? How many people comment or like it? It's about me getting my shit out. It's about me being able to express myself in my truest form. And I think a lot of people have mental health issues or depression or anxiety because whatever thing that's deep inside their heart that they just want to share. I'm not saying you got to create a podcast or put it out on social media, but they just want to talk about it with someone. You're not doing it. And I guess I hope that's some encouragement to you to maybe find that person, find that group of people that does share the same interest. I mean, find a community, do some research. Literally, the internet's a sick thing. Like you can find stuff, you can find your people, I think, if you look for it. And honestly too, since I've started posting, it's been a week, I think 8 people have unfollowed me, and it doesn't matter. It's almost like a green flag in terms of, okay, you're going in the right direction. If you're truly expressing yourself and people don't love it, people don't like it, like, that's another thing with expressing yourself. No two people have the same belief system. You're not going to always get accepted when you do express yourself. Like I've struggled with this because talking about God is weird. It's wrong. You're not supposed to do it. And I've lived with that. And now I'm just like, God, it's bubbling up. I can't not. It's the only thing I feel like I have to express is this wisdom and this understanding about life and this love from God, all these things. It's just like I can't hide that anymore. I think a lot of people really need that. So I want to talk about it in a way that hopefully makes sense. And so the point is that even your friends, your family, the people closest to you may not get it. They may see you talking about this thing and be like, what the fuck is Brian doing? That's weird. He's wrong. And just completely, like, just don't understand it. And that's a hard thing because we want approval from the people closest with us. We wanna be loved. We want to be affirmed. And I've gone through that. And I think when you live that for so long, it gets so exhausting. You're so stressed and anxious, and you just you have to. You're you for a reason. And I think, right, suppression of expression leads to depression. If you don't, I think it just little by little it weighs on you, and that's what happened. You know, honestly, up until right now, almost in this moment, this past week, of just like, you know what, man, fuck it. Like, I'm just gonna be me and really express myself, and people aren't gonna like it. Some people aren't, but you know what? I believe some people are gonna really like it and really resonate with it. And the message that I can provide, just like you can provide a message too, that's gonna really hit home with the people that it's supposed to hit home for. How are we doing on time? 16, almost 17. Okay. There's no way 26 minutes is going to happen, but I need water. I'm also not going to edit this at all unless I massively fuck up something, saying something. Number 3, the people you surround yourself with will make or break you. Going into 2025, I put an emphasis on community. For the past 5 years before that, I had gotten saved, started walking with Jesus, became a Christian, whatever you want to call it, in 2020. And after that, I really had zero Christian community, Christian friends. I mean, I talked to my dad about some stuff, but really had no one else that shared that same desire to seek God or that value system, whatever you want to call it. Oh, excuse me. And so going to 2025, I was like, I'm doing okay. Like, I don't know if I need this, but like, let's do it. Let's take a step of faith. I know it's important. My dad's talking about it. Fuck it, just do it. And it was scary. I signed up for this thing. I'm going in with all my preconceived notions of, man, all these Christians, like, they're going to be weird. They're not going to be like me. They're going to be over the top and awkward and all this stuff. And I also don't want to show up to a stranger's house and meet all these random people. And what's it going to be like? All those fears, right? And I do it anyway. And I show up, and it is a little scary. I walk into like freaking 25, 30 people. Shout out all those people because I'm like friends with all of them now. But it was scary. It was hard. And very quickly, I mean, maybe 30 minutes in, I'm like, wow, this is actually really cool. This is a group of people that are all after the same thing I am. They all have the same desire to, like I said, seek God and live this way and talk about it and, strengthen each other and talk about our issues and all of it. And it was like, wow, I didn't know this was a thing. I didn't know I needed this so much. And especially like for me, my friends, my family don't share that same like they're not Christians. And so again, suppression of expression leads to depression. I didn't have an outlet. I didn't really have anyone to talk to about this stuff. And besides like my dad a little bit at the time. And so my point here is not that you necessarily need to join a Christian community. If you are a Christian, I would say if you're in church, like you should absolutely do that because it's I honestly I don't know if I would have hung with God as much as I did without all the people that I've come to get so close with over this past year because I took a step of faith and had some courage and showed up to this thing, and the rest is kind of history now. Like I have so many close friends. I almost have too many Christian friends at this point. And it's just the people you surround yourself will make or break you. And I think with how hard of a year 2025 was for me, I realized that the greatest blessing in that was actually like all these phenomenal relationships. Like here, right here in the barn, once a week, I meet with three really close friends now that I didn't know a year ago. And we talk about it's like I don't know if you want to call it a Bible study, but community group. Like we just talk about our shit. We talk about what's going on in our lives. We talk about God. We share like what's just anything that's going on, and it's deep conversations about life. And I think for especially guys, we don't do that normally. And me as someone who craves to have those conversations, man, it was such a breath of fresh air. And so what I'm saying is whatever that thing is for you, whatever group of people or conversations you want to have or whatever interests that you have, it's like seek those people that are sharing that same interest. And it does go hand in hand, I think, with suppression of expression leads to depression. But not to mention even just like mentorship. Like I meet with two two mentors, guys I didn't know this time last year. One of them's a former pastor, one of them's my current pastor. And it's like, man, the importance of mentorship is crazy. Like I didn't know how much I really needed it, but I don't know, you don't realize that. I think when you're just going through life, maybe on your own, you've got your group of friends, maybe that you've had for a while, you do the same things on the weekend, and that's great. That's awesome. Like I'm not taking away from that, but if you're seeking something more, maybe something deeper, I'm just saying like one, you can create that, and you can find that. And I did this year, and it truly was probably the number one thing I was most grateful for. So yeah, surround yourself with people that bring you up too. Also on that too, like I'm living at home. My parents, I love them, but they're retired. They're in such a different season of life as I am right now. They're not entrepreneurs trying to build a business and super ambitious and all, like they're hanging out, like they're enjoying being grandparents, and like that's sick. That's an awesome season of life for them. But truthfully, being around that all the time is hard. It weighs on me. It's like it's very we're living completely different lives, and we rub off on each other. And they've rubbed off on me in some ways that I don't love for this season of life that I'm in right now. Some good ways too of like I should slow down and smell the roses a little bit more, but it's that same sentiment too. It's just consider the people that you're hanging out with, the cliche of you become the five people you spend the most time with. I've kind of rejected that in some ways over the past few years, but I think more than ever, I really learned that in some good ways and some not so good ways in 2025. Oh man, we're probably 23. Okay. All right. Number 4. Sorry. My character is the only thing I'm taking with me to heaven. Yeah. This is again, 5 lessons that I've learned from the hardest year of my life. My character is the only thing I'm taking with me to heaven. There's so many times this year that I questioned, doubted myself. I doubted God. I basically was like, man, did I screw it all up? Is quarter life clarity just a freaking dumb idea? Am I going in the complete wrong direction based on like God's will? Like am I basically what I'm saying is am I getting God's plan for me wrong? Am I just am I like breaking am I breaking the plan that God has for my life, which is not possible for one. You cannot. Like God knows everything, every screw up that you're going to do. God knew about it and planned your way out a really long time ago, which is very comforting because I think for me at least it takes the pressure off of the decisions I have to make today. And so anyways, just within the struggles that I went through of just I don't know what to do, I don't know which decision to make, all of this stuff, I I found myself questioning a lot and really just like, God, where are you and what's happening? Like this is so painful. How could this be a good thing in some ways? But my point with the character piece, my character is the only thing I'm taking with me to heaven. I think whether you believe in God or not, you understand that difficult things, trials, tribulations, hard stuff makes you a better human. It develops your character. And I think you and I can look back on a time where we were like, what the fuck, this sucks. This is really hard. Pain, suffering. And you can probably, I'm not saying every which way, you can find some ways that that thing did some good for you. Like you developed your character, you became a better person, you became more patient, you became more loving to others, to yourself, whatever it might be, like the breakup, the job, the thing you didn't get, the delay, the denial, whatever. You can look back on it and say that, okay, my character was strengthened by that. I don't want to keep burping. Um, why I say my character is the only thing I'm taking with me to heaven is if that's true, and I believe it is, and I don't think you need to believe in God to believe that your like soul, your spirit is it's going to continue when you physically die, okay? And so I'm just going to speak to what I believe, which is Christianity and from the Bible, that your character, that spirit, that soul, who you become as a result of this life is the only thing that is going to enter heaven. And then you'll get like a new body and all that stuff, and heaven will be great. But if that's the case, if character is the only thing you're taking with you to this place that you're going to be forever, for eternity, not 80, 90, 100 years if we're lucky on this earth. I'm talking about forever, and it doesn't take a genius to understand that you're going to be dead a lot longer than you're going to be alive. Character becomes the goal. Character becomes so important. And God knows that. And so for me, as I'm sitting here dealing with a very difficult, like troublesome, God, what are you doing? This has got to be wrong. I've got to be getting it wrong. All of this stuff is developing and has developed in me this character that there's no other way I could be this way. I could be this kind, patient, whatever. Insert your traits here. Like there's no other way. There's no other way it would happen. There's no other way that I can even just view difficult things now. And I think it's important to understand that because, man, when we're going through it, I'm not going to say that it doesn't freaking suck. Like it blows. Literally a week ago, my first video that I put back was all about this. It was all about, I feel abandoned. I feel forsaken. I feel like, God, where are you? And me going through just that develops my character because I'm on the brink of almost saying like, God, like I don't believe in you anymore almost. But getting through that and like still grasping, still hanging on, still showing up, still praying, still reading my Bible, still being like, God, I know you're here, but man, this sucks. And crying out to him and not just letting it sit in my heart. Like God knows, spoiler alert, God knows your thoughts and he knows what's on your heart. So say them, say those things to him, even if they're bad stuff, even if you're like cursing God out in some ways. He wants to know because he wants to be in a relationship with you. I literally read a passage, this is a tangent, but I read a passage in the Bible. I think it was yesterday. And it was a psalm where David's talking about like, God, like make my enemies like break all their arms and shit. And it's just like, dude, what? He's saying this is in the Bible. And he's saying it all to God. And it's like, all right, well, we know that that's wrong. Like we shouldn't, like, I don't know, it's not good to wish that on somebody or ask God for it even. Like that's crazy. But the point is that we can share those things. And to get the train a little bit on the more on the tracks here, like a good way to summarize this whole point is James 1 verses 2 to 4, where it says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." So that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. The goal, and this is why hard times, when you have this perspective, it makes difficulties easier in some ways. You can see the purpose behind it. It's because God's molding your character in that. And that's just such a big lesson learned. And I guess I'll nail this point home because we got to move on with saying that, especially if you're a Christian and you're going through something hard. I think it was like a month ago, I just realized and internalized and chose to believe that, man, how great it is and how much of a gift it actually is that God cares so much about me. He cares so much about my character because I know that that's the only thing that I'm taking with me to heaven. So it's really the thing that matters most. He cares about me so much that he's letting me stay in this pain. He's letting me stay in the hard time. He's letting the things that I want, the expectations of the relationship and the business and all these things, he's not letting me get them yet because he still wants to develop my character, which is the most important thing. And I think it broke my brain for a second, because it's I don't know, I've internalized it, that, and I'm not saying it doesn't make the pain go away. It helps a little bit. And when you're going through it, those little things, man, when you can remind yourself of that man, what a joy it actually is. Count it all as joy because God's developing me. He's making me, he's molding me, and that's going to be me forever. You know what? The house, the money, even the relationship, like all this stuff, I can't take it with me when I go. I can take my character. And so God's using that. God uses everything. He doesn't orchestrate them, but he uses them to develop you, to develop me. And that was a lot, but I hope that makes sense. And I think that's a huge one. Point number 5, and 33 minutes. Holy shit. We got to wrap this up. Point number 5, I can't screw up the plans God has for me. Kind of like I was just saying, there's so many times this year that I was like, I am definitely getting this wrong. That's kind of why I stopped the podcast last time. I got to be screwing it up. I got to be getting it wrong because this feels so terrible and I don't know what to do. And again, that's not true. Like I said before, I already covered that. That is not true. I cannot, and no matter what I do, I cannot screw up God's plan for my life. He already knew every single pit, every single misstep, every single thing that I'd fall into. He knew it, and he orchestrated the way out already. And what really hit this point home for me was, I think it was in October, and I was still kind of going through this like weird, like I don't know. I just like I got to be getting it wrong, so like God, give me answers. I watched this documentary called Deer Rodeo. Like it was basically the story of Cody Johnson's life. He's a country artist. If you listen to country, you probably know him. But he had this dream of being in the rodeo. He wanted to be a cowboy. He wanted to that was his dream. And obviously the music thing worked out for him, but at the time, it wasn't going well for him. He sucked at the rodeo. He was still just gritting his teeth doing it, trying to make it happen. And eventually, like, the dream blew up in his face and he realized, like, man, like, just complete defeat from that dream. And, obviously over time, the God directed him and led him to obviously this sick career and a lot of impact and all these great things that he has now. But in the moment, it's not so easy to see that. But now, having come out of that dark season, he said this quote that just stuck with me so hard. And he said, "There's not a single failure, there's not a single dark place that I truly believe God didn't allow me to go to." And so if that's true, it's the same sentiment as the character piece, because his character grew, his dependence on God grew in the difficulty, in the pit. But if that's true, then I was just sitting there like, oh my goodness, if that's true and he's saying it, this isn't just from like the Bible. This is like a guy that exists right now saying like every single dark place, every single failure, all the shit, all the screw ups, everything that I got wrong, God was actually right there in it with me, directing me, leading me, carrying me at times. And it hit home so hard with me. And if you're a Christian, especially, and if you like Cody Johnson, and you're maybe going through a tough time, I would say watch that, because it's a lot about like true surrender and what that means, and giving up all the plans that I have for this life that I want to live, and I'm going to do it this way. And like, we can make our plans, but God determines our steps. Like, it's good to have goals and all that stuff, but once you realize like I can't make sense of it all, that's where I'm at right now personally. Like this week, I've just been like, I'm done trying to make sense of God. Like, he's got me. I know that. And he's not going to let me walk off the cliff. He's a good shepherd. And I'm the dumbass sheep that's just trying to do my best, trying to get it right, knowing that I can't, and I am going to get it wrong, and that's part of life, but I'm done trying to make perfect sense of God. My brain is so much smaller than God's brain. And so I think that's just important we try to make sense of God. And it's like, well, God created you, me, and we know how complex humans are. Look at the earth and how crazy complex it is when you really look at it. It's like, that guy that designed all of this for me, for us, like, he probably knows a whole lot more about my life and life in general and what's best for me. And so, you know what? All I can do is do the best I can with what I have today and trust that he's going to take care of the rest. Trust that 6 months from now, life could be completely different. And the thing that I'm worrying about right now doesn't really matter because of that. And so that's something that I'm really taking to heart in 2026, is do the best you can with what you have today, because that's all we really can do. Like, it's so cliche, but it's so true. And I think if we let that sink in, make the best decision you can with that thing that you're contemplating today, and trust that God's going to lead you within that if you make the wrong one, which is what I'm saying is it doesn't exist. And last thing I'll say is, I don't know if this fits here, but whatever. God creates our purpose, and then he creates us. So God has this huge, like, big plan for the world and for life and all this stuff. And then he goes, you know what? Brian, I'm going to use him for this. I'm going to use him to reach these people, and I'm going to use him in this way for these relationships. And then, okay, now I'm going to create Brian because I know what I want to use him for. And he's going to have these innate abilities. He's going to be good at these things. I'm going to give him the desire for this. And I'm going to give him these dreams and these goals and these personality traits. And I don't know. I think once you understand that, and also, by the way, in the Bible is full of people that just keep screwing up. They keep screwing up time and time again. They get it wrong. It's crazy. If you've never read it, like, it's nuts how like shitty the people in the Bible are at times and how badly they screw it up. And yet God directs them. God leads them to the person and the things that he has for them. So this point, I can't screw up the plans God has for me. It's such an exhale for me, but when you actually internalize it and believe it, it not only I would say makes sense. People disagree with that, but it makes sense, and it's just like it's such a nice way to live. It takes the pressure off of you, and it's like, you know what, God's gonna lead me. All I can do is do the best I can with what I have today. So that was a lot. That was not 26 minutes, 40 minutes. All right, I gotta wrap this up, but I I don't know what this podcast is gonna be. It's gonna be more of this. It's gonna be my experiences. It's gonna be me, like I said, sharing the shit that I really care about and expressing myself completely. And so we're gonna see how it goes. But I want to say thank you if you've listened this whole time. Thank you for sticking with me for 40 something minutes. The plan and the goal is to get this to like 20 minutes. Um, I want to make these shorter. I want to make them more efficient and better, but bear with me as I just word vomited all over you for 45 minutes because I've wanted to express myself and share these things for a long time. And now actually doing it, like that was fun. Like honestly, I've been excited to do this again and a little afraid and a little nervous at how it would go. Uh, I hope it turned out good, but I think it's just I was excited. I was excited to do this today, leading up to it, like almost giddy again. It's like, all right, we're doing it. Like we're back, and um, I want to encourage you with whatever you're struggling with. If 2025 freaking sucked, I just want to say I'm right there with you, obviously now, and also with that, don't put so much pressure on your 2026 to be this and be that and for it to be perfect because it's not going to be. And I think the more we can realize that and be okay with that, still work hard, still do the things and just trust in the plan, then I think we'd all be better off. So appreciate you listening. If you want to comment, if you want to like it, subscribe, do all that stuff, whatever. Yeah, so that's all I got. Excited to be back and appreciate you guys listening.